For nearly 40 years, Tom Holtz has played a pivotal role in developing CBRE into one of the world's leading real estate service companies. He is personally credited with approximately $11 billion in investment transactions during a career that has touched every major Twin Cities building.
It's a very humbling honor, and I'd like to thank the University of St. Thomas and the Opus College of Business in particular for this honor. It's a very humbling award.
Well, I've had the good fortune of knowing Tom Holtz for 36 years. In fact, it was 36 years ago this month that I first met Tom Holtz. I was working in Chicago for a real estate developer, and I got transferred to the Twin Cities. And my new boss said to me, Stu, your first assignment is to go out and to meet these two hotshot tenant reps at CB Richard Ellis. That's your first priority. I didn't even know what a tenant rep was. So I made the phone call, set up a lunch, and I found myself a week later having lunch with these two guys, one of which was Pat Ryan and one of which was Tom Holtz. And I immediately realized that these were two up-and-comers that I needed to get close to and get to know well, because I had a big empty office building that I was supposed to fill, and these guys obviously had a lot of connections in town. So from there, Pat went off a few years later to work for Ryan Companies, and Tom is stuck his whole career. I think he's coming up now on 40 years with CB Richard Ellis, now CBRE. And so Tom and I have developed a tremendous friendship and business relationship over the past 36 years.
Tom was a banker before he got into the real estate business. And I was a relatively new broker at CB. And they assigned me Tom, and I'd never met him until the first day I started work. And my thought is, my God, I've got to train a banker. I mean, it's, I wasn't very enthused. But it was a one-year runner program. And his job was to help leverage my time. And my job was to teach him what I knew about the business. And after 6 months, I had realized that I had taught him about all I was going to be able to teach him, and that he was a racehorse. So I made him a partner 6 months before that runnership. And it's one of the best business decisions I've ever made. Second would be joining Ryan 4 years later. Because we developed not only a deep respect for each other, but friendship.
Several years ago, we sold City Center in downtown Minneapolis, and at the time it was the largest real estate transaction ever in the state of Minnesota. We sold that building for $315 million, sold it to a Chinese investor, which was also the first Chinese investment, real estate investment in the Twin Cities. So that's one I'm proud of. I would say another one is the relationship that I have with Artis REIT. I did deal with Pat Ryan and Artis. Actually, back then it was known as Mar West Development in 1981. And we stayed in touch with those folks for a long period of time, and eventually Mar West morphed into Artis REIT. And we have done a tremendous amount of business with Artis REIT over the years, and it goes to the relationships that I formed early on with their senior executives.
He and I worked together as partners back 39 years ago, and until he kicked me out the door, and which is at that point in time when his career really took off. But I would tell you that virtually every sizable investment deal that we've done in our careers together, I've done with Tom. And if you take a look around the Twin Cities, you tell me one large building that is traded that he hasn't been involved with once or twice.
Tom's professional accomplishments are matched only by his contributions to society and his desire to make the world a better place through leadership.
He would say his most significant accomplishments would be the number of people he's put together. It wouldn't be the transactions, it would be the people. He really comes at it from the people side, the buyers, sellers, understanding where we are in the cycle, and he's put so many buyers and sellers together, or landlords and tenants. He's that great connector.
Tom is a true elder statesman of Twin Cities commercial real estate. Yet despite his many commitments, Tom is always ready to lend an ear, help a friend, or mentor a young professional.
Within the real estate community, I think the thing that I really enjoy is mentoring younger brokers, both from CBRE, my company, and other companies.
If Tom were talking to a class of St. Thomas students or someone else, I can pretty much guarantee you first words he would say would be, get off your damn smartphone, get out from behind the computer, go wear out some shoe leather. It's the real estate business. It's about, first of all, buildings and cycles and tenants and those sorts of things. Get out and see for yourself. Understand why one building is better or worse than another. Understand the tenants that are in the building. Why are they there? Why are they not there? What's wrong? Where are we in the cycle? But most importantly, get to know people and leaders and adopt a mentor.
My advice to them, first of all, one thing that I've noticed with our younger brokers is that with all the advances in technology, there's a tendency in our business to rely a lot on technology. And being more from the old school, I would say that this business still is a people business and it's a relationship business. And so I would encourage the young graduates to get out and network within the appropriate real estate or business communities that they're involved in. I would have them, do as much networking as possible and setting up meetings and getting to know players in their respective industries. I would also encourage them to get a group of mentors that they can bounce ideas off of, rely on. And mentoring actually needs to be a two-way street. As a mentor for a lot of young brokers over the years, I've learned as much from them as they've learned from me.
Understand where your passion is and follow your passion. Secondly, it's how do you continue to be inspired being in the same job for a long period of time? And his inspiration is not the bigger deal. I think his inspiration is to be able to build a relationship with a client where he has multiple opportunities to be of service.
This Lifetime Achievement Award for Tom means a lot, even though Tom is probably blushing and cowering and shrinking a little bit in his seat right now as we talk about that, because Tom has never been one to go out and toot his own horn or seek out the press. He's been that quiet servant behind the scenes who has always put his people or the transaction or the people in the middle of the transaction in front of him. But I know after the long list of accomplishments and the number of properties he's been involved with, either on the tenant rep side or as a broker, is enormous. And I'm sure as he's aging, as I am and we all are, it means a lot to him to have this recognition.
What's most meaningful to me about getting this award is it's a validation and an acknowledgement of the fact that teaming, which has been a big part of my 40-year career at CBRE, I think this award validates the teaming concept. And while it's an individual honor, I think it really needs to be shared with all of the tremendous partners and teammates that I've had the pleasure of working with over the past 40 years at CBRE.
Please congratulate Tom Holtz, award recipient of the 2018 Minnesota Real Estate Hall of Fame.